Good morning, friends and extended family. Um, Today is a big day, I guess, for an adoptee. Cats. My birth father passed away this morning, and so I got a call from my second cousin, who I've reconnected with via the My Ancestor or My Heritage website, and he let me know, since he didn't know if I would have any other way of finding out, which really drives home the whole adoption thing, whereas you're the outsider in your own family. So that's the second loss on that side of the family. First was my youngest brother on my father's side, and that hit me pretty hard because he was I had genetic matching or mirroring with him. He looked a lot like me and reminded me of me, and it was nice to see someone who looked like me in my life. And I didn't get to know him before he was murdered. I don't know how my birth father has passed away. I have no idea. And it solves big problems for me. Even this morning I was thinking about it, and it's often on my mind how it is that I can repair this most important of relationships in my life. It was never my intention to become separated from him. When I met my birth father, he was everything I needed in a father growing up. And that hurt so much. And it was in meeting him and his family that I had first come to realize that my better life wasn't a better life at all. And that was really hard to take. And not only that, there was a spiritual component to my birth dad's side of the family that didn't exist in my adoptive family. So in a lot of ways, it made me feel guilty. It made me feel angry, resentful, upset, enraged. And at the time, that anger had to go somewhere. And he took the brunt of the anger. And I said things that probably weren't great. When I'd come back into that sphere, I'd been involved in some things to try to raise money for my first daughter, and the debacle with the paying half my income for child support, which put me into indentured servitude for years and the inability to drive, etc. But anyways, there was always this hope that somehow we could sit down and talk, and he could get to know me while I'm not in the midst of a nervous breakdown. It doesn't look pretty, and to be honest, when people are emotionally distraught like that, who wants to be around them? No one. And that's how they got to meet me. So yeah, there's so much to it. And I mean, not only that, I sometimes wonder if my own coming back into the family contributed to my own younger brother's death. And I never got to ask my dad if he blamed me for that. So I guess tit for tat. And yeah, I have to share this under my Brian James name, because in pretend world, that's not my father, right? So none of those people really care. It's so strange. I heard some woman today talking about, some sort of connection between her birth mother and what's going on with her adoptive mother, and talking about the two. And I posted the video underneath, you got to keep them separated by the offspring, because you do. I'm sorry, but except in very rare cases, it seems like, how can you hold two realities together? One that was pretend and given to you that you actually had to live, and one that was taken away from you. It becomes so complex. And now I have to figure out, what do I do? Who do I contact? My other half brother and sister? Their mother? Do they want me there? Are they going to think that I'm there looking for inheritance? I mean, ultimately, all I ever wanted was to be part of the family that I'm part of. And adoption removes that and makes it some kind of option. Add option. I'm an option. Except I'm a beggar too, because beggars can't be choosers, right? And the adoptee doesn't really get to choose anything. I was never I'm not part of any inheritance. I really wasn't involved in the funerals on my adoptive side. I haven't been involved in the funerals on my birth side. I don't know what inheritance looks like. I don't know what my rights are. Where's the handbook that comes with this? When you dig deep into it, it says things that, adoptees' rights are protected. What rights? Like, what rights? Even just as a plain old citizen, my rights are violated like mad in Canada. It appears we don't really actually have a Charter of Rights and Freedom that applies to us, since governments and provincial governments seem to be able to override at their leisure. I'm distraught. I'm upset. Relieved in a way. But it's a lost opportunity to know my father better. What I did know of him, I wanted to know him. And I just couldn't keep my emotions together. And where does the adoptee go? Who's the person the adoptee goes to? At that time, all I wanted was my mother. And the reason I wanted my mother was to cry like a little baby until I felt better. That's what I wanted my mother for. And unfortunately, his wife at the time had to kind of bear the brunt of that and be my emotional support. And that really wasn't fair to her or to my birth father. So anyways, I think I've discussed some of it in past videos to do with that side of the family. But I'm torn up. And as sad as it may be, you folks, you anonymous people out there, know more about me than my adoptive family or my birth family. And thus, I now blindly get to share with you something that I guess would be what you would share with the most intimate people in your life. And that's you guys. And of course, there's a special person in my life that I share things with as well. But anyways, yeah, forever family, my ass.